Hello, my name is Abby Ziegler, and this is my 4-minute video response to the film Fresa y Chocolate. So, I do have not a dialogue or a script, but just some key points I want to reach, so I will be looking a little bit off to the side to make sure that I'm reaching those points. I do apologize. So, in the film Fresa y Chocolate, I really felt as though I resonated with Diego and Nancy the most. Both of those characters, throughout the film, we see that they don't really fit into the social or political climate or expectations in socialist Cuba. Um, but they are still able to find strength, purpose, identity, and who they truly are as individuals. Um, I see parts of myself in both of them. And later on, I will go into two separate details of why I resonate with Diego and why I resonate with Nancy. And then at the end, why those characters resonate with each other. So, starting with Diego, I feel as though I identify with him a little less than I identify with Nancy, but I want to give some background information on him. He is a gay artist and an individual or intellectual who challenges not only socialist Cuba's limits, but his own limits on self-expression. Um, in the current socialist society that he lives in, the the values of conformity are extremely strong. And so as a form of resistance, he um, insists on living his life honestly instead of conforming to the social norms of socialist Cuba. Um, he doesn't fight with violence, verbally or physically. He doesn't fight with anger or hatred. He uses art, conversation, empathy to truly express himself and to get his point across in order to open the minds of other people. Um, and I relate to that because I know what it feels like to be different in a place that expects everyone to act the same or to be the same exact cookie cutter shape. And trying to not fight against that, but trying to still express who you are and having your own identity, but in a not so violent way is the best way I can probably put it. Um, Diego's character helps remind us in this film that resilience doesn't have to be loud, it doesn't have to be aggressive, it doesn't have to be angry, but it can still be passionate in a quiet way. Sometimes having resilience or resistance just means having the creativity and the kindness in a quietly loud way. So, the best way I can describe that would be like having a piece of artwork. A piece of artwork can mean so much more than just someone going off on a speech or a tangent. And that is a form of quiet resistance. Um, he uses kindness and creativity to try to create a change in socialist Cuba. And I feel as though he could probably still use that creativity and change in today's socialist society as well. Not socialist society, but in today's social society as well. Um, we can move on to Nancy now. Nancy's character we see in this film is so heavily judged and just pushed aside in the society because of her past, because of her work, because of who she is and her identity. But that doesn't stop her. It doesn't stop her from being full of life. It doesn't stop her from being caring, loving, funny, an individual. And I can really identify with Nancy because she represents what it feels like to have self-acceptance for yourself, not trying to fit in with the social norms of other people just to feel accepted in society, let alone in her socialist society. She represents what it feels like to be able to start over and not have shame over starting over, even though other people will continue to put those labels on her, and she is still able to remain a form of compassion for those people, for the people around her, and is still able to find connection with others. And that is something that I feel we can all hopefully resonate with, but myself especially. Um, she shows that you can rebuild who you are while still remaining pieces of who you were. She shows that everyone has value in their own, each and individual way. Even if society overlooks you, you still have value. Just because someone is not outwardly saying it, it doesn't mean that you don't have it. And I feel her character really helps represent that. Now, together, I feel as though Diego and Nancy have a really powerful way of capturing what popular culture truly is: everyday resistance, expression, creativity, individuality. And Diego, he uses art and literature in order to question authority, while Nancy, on the other hand, shows it in a different way. She shows resilience in humor of the ordinary people around her, um, despite what they label her as or despite the hardships that they are going through. These characters help remind us that culture isn't just something that is made by the government or the elite or people in higher positions than us. Creativity is individuality. It is what you make of who you are, what your culture is, who you want to be, what you want to create, what you want to put out into the world, how you choose to express your own truth in your own voice and not letting anyone negate that from you. And if we bring it to Benedict Anderson and what he calls an imagined community, that sense of belonging is built on sympathy, empathy, shared values, rather than just the closeness or proximity of the people around you. Just because there are people around you who you may see often, it doesn't mean that that's necessarily your community if you don't feel a sense of belonging with them. Um, these two characters are forced to live in the margins, just the margins. And they are able to still create a small community within the already small margins that they are forced to live in. They imagine a life where they're free and they can have friendships and compassion with everyone, not just certain people who fit within the same norms as them. And that everyone can share that same love and compassion for other people without judgment. And I relate to that because I've also tried to build those kinds of relationships and tried to build those own spaces myself throughout my life where I want to be able to be in a space where people can be real about who they are, what their struggles are, what they want to represent, and who they are in this world and the mark that they want to make. And I want to feel accepted in those spaces. I want people around me to feel accepted in those spaces as well. I understand that sense of search and belonging because it's something that I have searched for my entire life. A space where you can be free to be you, if that makes sense. Um, a space without fear or judgment or ridicule. A space that feels safe, calm, comforting, kind. Like Diego and Nancy, I strongly believe that creativity, connection, empathy, sympathy, etc., can help heal your connections with others and with yourself. That others may feel are that others may feel is unseen or that you feel is unseen as well. We see in the towards the end of the film that the best way to wrap these characters up in terms of how I feel connected to them is that they remind people watching the film what it means to have identity and belonging, and that these are choices that you actively decide to make. And what it's like to make those decisions and those choices when the world around you is not making it easy, and when you're being thrown different curveballs and different struggles. They show what it's like to be an authentic individual and how by helping others, it can help them feel the same, but it can also make you feel a sense of connection with the world around you. And it's truly one of the best ways that you can resist social norms and have resilience against it and still be able to truly live. That's all. Thank you.